Welcome into the Farzy Show, everybody, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com, coming to you live as we do every weekday at 6 a.m. from the Steven Singer studio. I am in a mood today, folks, so bear with me. I'm out on Doc Rivers. I could not be more out on Doc Rivers after what he said last night. I am beside myself that he even made this reference. And this is when, in a city, we acknowledge how many times we want other people to be held accountable. This is the one instance where I'll say, maybe don't mention that. Maybe leave that part out of it because it's only a self-indicting thing to say. If you say what Doc Rivers said last night, we'll let you hear that in just a second. Obviously, it was the battle of MVPs last night, the MVP candidates for this season, and Nikola Jokic, obviously, at the Denver Nuggets, and your own Joel Embiid. The Denver won, Sixers lost, but in the head-to-head battle, I still have Joel Embiid over Nikola Jokic. If Joel Embiid gets help from the bench, this is a different story. The Sixers win this game. In a lot of ways, it made me feel like almost like a baseball game where your pitcher goes 9 innings, allows 1 run, and your offense can't muster any offense. So that was kind of what last night was for me in watching this game. They got no help off the bench whatsoever. And if you're looking for the main reason why they lost, that's the main reason why they lost above anything else. We do have some Phillies news, actual baseball news. It's now officially official. Odubel Herrera is a member of the Phillies again. I don't know. As I made the whole argument yesterday. It just doesn't make any damn sense as to why they keep on going back to this guy. Why they keep on thinking, oh, no, this is the guy that we really want to see blossom for like a month. Maybe he'll do a month and a week this time, and then we can really justify this signing. The only way, and there's really no justification for this signing, but there is a way to detract from it, to not give it as much attention, and that is, as I mentioned yesterday, any of the younger guys come up and they take that center field position, or they go out there and they get one of the big names. They go out there and they get one of the names like we've mentioned before, Chris Bryant or Nick Castellanos, and all of a sudden we're not talking about Odubel Herrera as much. I did like the addition of Brad Hand. That's a nice addition to your bullpen. I was telling you guys just yesterday about how you had those veteran arms to your bullpens. A lot of times things go right when you add the veterans to your bullpen, as long as they don't, break down, as we see other guys do. So he gets about $7 million. Darius Familia gets about $6 million, incentives up to $7 million. So I think those are all good acquisitions to the back end of your bullpen. And you also get a guy, Brad Hand, who's a lefty. And a 3-time All-Star, so I am here for that. Now let's get to last night's game. Oh, and how about this? Hassan Reddick, I could not be more excited about to join the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was thinking to myself, he's a Temple guy. There's got to be somebody I got in my phone that I can talk to about Hassan Reddick, give me a little inside information. And sure enough, Colin Thompson, who is not only an NFL tight end, he's on the practice squad right now with the Panthers. He's got 1 NFL touchdown under his belt. He scored his first one just last year. He's been around the league for a while. He's got an amazing story. But not only is he a Temple product like myself, we also went to the same high school. We're from the same town. As the interview goes on today, we start to find out that we have even more in common than we thought. We're not related, but like down to the same pizza shop and down to the same tuxedo place and formal clothing wear place we got our clothes from to go to the prom. Like, it's just funny. I knew we were very similar in terms of our backgrounds, but other than, he's a professional athlete, and I played in a ball hockey tournament with the Nasty Knuckles boys, and I still hate my life from it. I think I'm still walking with a limp from it, as a matter of fact. But he gives us a lot of inside information on Hassan Reddick and what he's going to be bringing to the table here in Philadelphia, and I am amped for this signing. It was one of the things yesterday where I was looking at my phone, and I saw the news pop up from Mike Garafalo of NFL Network. And it was one of those things where I just had to – I was confused. Like, I'd never been more confused looking at my phone. Like, I know I'm reading what I'm reading, and this is a credible source, but it can't be true. He's a linebacker. They don't value linebackers. Oh, well, he'll play a lot of edge rushing and all that to do edge rushing, but he does everything. He's very versatile. Still – this can't be right. This is too exciting. I literally just stared at my phone like a moron for like 5 minutes, computing, like trying to download the information I was looking at. And it's true. Hassan Reddick is a Philadelphia Eagle. Jonathan Gannon, you wanted pieces for your puzzle? You wanted somebody that maybe you could scheme around a little bit, somebody you could rely on in this defense? You got your guy. Darius Slay and Hassan Reddick are never guys that are bad to have on your defense. And just 27 years old, Hassan Reddick got a lot of good years left. So I am thrilled with this signing and amazed and shocked, most pleasantly surprised that the Eagles looked at a linebacker and went, we should probably get this guy. And what Colin Thompson has to tell us about how competitive he is. He was teammates with him at Temple. He was teammates with him at Carolina. He's going to break it down for us exactly what this guy can bring to the table here in Philadelphia, because the number one word that I use to describe him, even back from his days at Temple, where he was a walk-on as a defensive back, is versatility. You want a guy to go in there and get in the backfield, get after the quarterback, tackle for loss? Hassan Reddick. You want a guy to drop back in coverage, cover that tight end? Hassan Reddick. You want a guy to cover that wheel route from a running back out of the backfield? Hassan Reddick. That's what he brings to the table. Couldn't be more excited that he's here. And when it comes to the leadership aspect, Colin Thompson goes on and on and on about what he brings to the table in that regard. I am thrilled that he is here. And for all the stuff we could say about Jonathan Gannon, and there's a lot, if you get him some more pieces, how much better can he be? Everybody needs players. There's no doubt about that. But last year, I felt like, and really Steven Nelson more or less described this for us when he was on with us last year, when he talked about how this defensive scheme, quote unquote, philosophy was genius, because really what Jonathan Gannon is doing is allowing the offense to make the mistake and allowing the defense to sit back and wait for that mistake to happen so they don't get burned deep. Make them make more plays, more likely to make a mistake, and you can take advantage of that. Hassan Reddick's the guy that could force the mistake. You have Hassan Reddick here, it's less likely that guys like Daniel Jones are all of a sudden just going to take what you give them and be able to pick you apart. Yeah, Daniel Jones pick you apart when you allow him that space. You can force them into getting skittish. And you know who's really good at doing that? Hassan Reddick. Love double digits tackles the last 2 years. Love what this guy brings to the table. I don't want to see it anymore from Jonathan Gannon. Having Hassan Reddick here, I do not want to see or talk about next season Jonathan Gannon's passive defense. I want to hear about aggression. I want to hear about Jonathan Gannon and what he had to say in training camp last year when he talked about, oh, yeah, it's hard to take a sting out of my defense. Okay, now you got a guy with a hell of a stinger on him. Go after it. Please, Jonathan Gannon. So hopefully that's the way that plays out. Colin Thompson will join us and break that down for us coming up in just a little bit. Here's why I'm in a mood, folks. Let's just talk about this first. The Sixers bench is the reason they lost this game. Your bench can't shoot 4 for 24 in a game. And our man, friend of the show, George Niang, can't shoot 2 for 12, can't shoot 2 for 8 from beyond the arc. That ain't good. That's really bad. Really, really bad. And he got the corner 3 opportunity to tie the game with 3 seconds, with the 3-point game, 113 to 110. He got the corner 3 opportunity, rushed the shot, clanged it off the backboard from the corner, never good, and then got the rebound, and Tyrese Maxey wide open on the perimeter for 3 to potentially tie the game. And George Niang gets the ball back in his hands with about 3 seconds left, puts it right back up for the layup instead of kicking it out to Tyrese Maxey. That was the better play. That was the right play. That's what should have happened on that play. And I see a lot of people out there on the old internet say that, oh, Ben Simmons would make this pass. Ben Simmons would be on the bench. It was late in the 4th quarter. There's no way Ben Simmons is making that pass from the bench. If it was like first quarter, 4 minutes into it, yeah, Ben Simmons makes that pass. But Ben Simmons is also not waiting out there on the corner, by the way. So let me just get that out of my system. Main reason they lost this game is because of the bench. The other reason they lost this game is, I can't say it anymore, Doc Rivers. I understand that you needed Joel Embiid to play 40 minutes in an overtime game of the first leg of a back-to-back in Orlando, so on the road. How come the team wasn't better prepared to play against the Orlando Magic, especially after they just got a butt-whooping against the Nets? And how come you needed Joel Embiid? Like, you got to go into that game with the first thing, like, I can't lose to the Magic. Second, I got to make sure my team is ready to go. And third, Joel Embiid is going to be playing in both these games. Like, if he was going to play this game against the Denver Nuggets, you knew that on 2 nights ago, on Sunday night. You knew that was going to be the case. How do you allow it to happen where he plays 40? Why? I would rather lose that game than make sure I have Joel Embiid saved for this matchup against the Nuggets, when you're probably going to need him a lot more. And then last night, Doc Rivers calls Joel Embiid out for being tired. Now, did he open his press conference by saying we lost this game because Joel Embiid got tired? No, absolutely not. But there are certain things you just don't expect coaches to say. You expect coaches to cover for players. And 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, we always want the coach to be holding players accountable. This is one instance where you probably shouldn't have said what you said. This is Doc Rivers on Joel Embiid when he wanted to be pulled out of the game in the first half. Listen to this answer he gives to the question about his rotations when it comes to Joel Embiid in this game.
I thought the rotations got screwed up today because Joel, after 4 minutes, said he wanted to come out, which I've never, he was tired. And then he got in foul trouble after that. So that really hurt our rotations tonight.
That's the only reason the first half rotations were just conceded.
Yeah, what did he play those first 5 minutes? And he looked and it's like, I need out, and so he's never done that. But that's fine, we have to be ready for that because the same thing can happen with him getting in foul trouble. You have to get him out, so you have to be ready for that. But I thought it did hurt us a little bit.
If there's ever a time to not bring up Joel Embiid being tired, and if there's ever a time to not look at the athlete and say, why are you so tired? What the hell? You're a professional athlete. Get out there. Like, this isn't McNabb in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he got tired. You know what I'm saying? No, this is Joel Embiid with 15 games left in the regular season. He's carried this damn team for the entire year through all the Ben Simmons drama BS, came back from COVID to then enter himself back in the MVP conversation, leading scorer in the NBA, going up against another MVP, the MVP, the reigning MVP, and Doc Rivers wants to be like, well, my rotations got screwed up because Joel got tired. Like, that does not sit well with me. If there's ever a time for a coach to even say something along the lines of, yeah, we had to, had to make sure we gave Joel Embiid a break. That's it. Not Joel got tired. Like, that's what you bring up in the post-game press conference? And you want to talk about how the rotations got screwed up? You basically went to a playoff rotation where George Niang played the vast majority of the minutes off your bench, and maybe 2 or 3 other guys got minutes after that. When Doc Rivers said that, it was the type of thing I had to hit rewind on the DVR and go, one more time, run that by me again there, Glenn. What was that about Joel Embiid being tired? If there's ever a time to not bring that part up, it's now. And I feel like I'm one of the last people in Philadelphia that will ever see anything negative about Joel Embiid. Like, I call it as I see it. This is an example of Joel Embiid not deserving to be called out for, well, he got tired, so he needed to come out. Everybody else are like, fight through it. But this guy's been carrying this team this entire season through all the drama, all the BS. Joel got tired, so I couldn't figure out my rotations. Okay. That's interesting. Thank you for that. I was shocked that he said it last night. And it was a similar situation to the Hassan Reddick thing where I just was like, looked at my TV dumbfoundedly. That's a perfect word to describe it. I couldn't believe it. After all Joel Embiid has done for this team and playing in the back-to-back, coming back from the road and playing up against Nikola Jokic and playing great, by the way. See, Joel got tired. My rotations weren't good. Cool. Figure it out, man. Figure it out. The other thing is James Harden. Here's one thing I agree with Doc on. James Harden, you got to be aggressive. And I'm not talking about going to the rim with the intention to get fouled. I'm talking going to the rim with the intention to score. Or when you get that ball in the wing, shoot. He is so afraid of his shot right now because he has been struggling over the last 3 games that he doesn't want to be the guy to miss that shot. And he wants to pass up on that to set up George Niang. Like we showed you the shot yesterday. I don't think I still have the picture now. But where he passed up on that shot in the early goings of the fourth quarter. James Harden, you're here to be the number 2 guy. Like, it's Joel Embiid and then you. I forget the college coach that said it some years ago, but offense, shooting, and basketball is not a democracy. Most of the time, it's a monarchy. But for me, I can't believe that James Harden has been so passive. And at the end of the night, you look at the box score, you see 20-plus points, you think, he had a great game. And he had a good game. But there are plenty of opportunities where I'd rather see him shoot those threes and miss than George Niang or really anybody else. And for the life of me, I can't really figure out. Tobias Harris actually looked pretty good over the last 2 games. And they've barely gone to him. He had 26 points against the Magic. Good for him. Last night, he actually started out hot, and then it was like he didn't see the ball get to the 4th quarter. I'm not afraid to get – I think Tobias Harris can still play basketball. I don't think Tobias Harris sucks by any means. I think he's getting lost in the fold a lot right now. He's got to do a better job of stepping up and demanding the ball at times, especially if James Harden's not in the game and Joel Embiid needs somebody to kick the ball out to. He needs to be more consistent with that three-point shot, and last night he was 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. Would have liked to see him a little bit more involved in the offense. Tyrese Maxey stepped up in this game for this starting 5. That was great to see. But everything else, I am just left thinking, how do we call out Joel Embiid for being tired in this game? And how do we not have more bench help than this team has right now? George Niang hits those shots. It's a much different game. Who's going to come off the bench and score? Furkan Korkmaz is basically banished from the land. And I'm not that upset about that. But last night, when you see guys struggling, and Doc Rivers points out after the game that George Niang's legs just looked like they were shot, well, then it's time to get other guys in the game. If you notice that, why aren't you making any changes? And speaking of making changes, how many times did I have to see last night James Harden bring the ball up, immediately get double-teamed by whatever guard was in the game at that time, and Nikola Jokic, leaving Joel Embiid open in the middle of the top of the key, or right at the foul line, and then either turnover, no foul call, or missed shot. You couldn't do anything else to offset the same thing they were doing every single time James Harden brought the ball up. Meeting him there at the top of the key with 2 guys, forcing him back, forcing him to pass the ball. It was a big and a guard every time James Harden brought the ball up. And you couldn't crack that code? You could have put somebody else out of the wing? Ridiculous. Could have put Joel Embiid maybe down in the dunker spot, roll somebody else up there to the foul line, easy bounce pass to Joel Embiid in the post. Couldn't do that. Was that difficult to figure out, Doc? Must have been. Basketball just really must be hard. Because Doc Rivers had like a great playing career, solid player, goes beyond saying, right? He's won a championship as a coach, been a coach for a lot of years. And I see stuff like that in the game, and I'm like, I played intramural ball. Why aren't you doing, it's like very simple. Why? This isn't calculus. Break it down. Look, take it down to the last notch here for a second and try to figure it out that way. Sports are fun. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up in just a second, Colin Thompson will be joining us. Talk about all things Hassan Reddick and that signing with the Eagles. Very excited about that. That actually has me in a happy place today, believe it or not, while the Sixers do not have me in a happy place. Let me tell you about my man, Mike Seibert, Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Mike Seibert is a retirement income certified professional. He's a financial advisor for Eagles and Sixers fans only. Everybody else, hit the bricks. This firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and a partner of 1847 Financial. Mike helps clients with their accumulation and distribution years. What's the difference? Well, a lot. Have you figured out how much you'll need per month when you retire? How much your retirement income would you like guaranteed no matter what? Do you want to protect any assets from downside market risk? And do you have a written plan? If you have questions, if you need answers, if you have assets of $250,000 or more, Mike will create a written plan to help you offset your retirement expenses free of charge using software from Retirement Analyzer. He usually charges $1,999. So act now, folks. Your plan will show you how you can help offset your retirement expenses and what to do in a volatile market and help minimize taxes. With over 30 years of experience, Mike is committed to helping Eagles and Sixers fans get to and through retirement. You can reach Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. Or visit destinationretirement.com. You see it in the scroll right there, destinationretirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how you are prepared for retirement, and to sign up for his newsletter as well. He'll get back to you and talk to you about how he can help. And as always, go Birds and play the song. Let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. It's so easy. You log on to IHateStevenSinger.com. Yes, that's the name of the website. Man's a marketing genius. IHateStevenSinger.com. Look at all the beautiful, sparkling diamond engagement rings, diamond necklaces, diamond stud earrings, diamond tennis bracelets. They're all gorgeous. Click on it, order it, fast, free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. You want to go into the store for the full experience, you're going to get treated like a family member at Steven Singer Jewelers, because every single day he's treating you to the perfect price every single day. It's amazing. Every other jeweler will mark things way up just to mark it down in front of you and make you feel like you got some kind of sale. They'll try to rush you into the store. Oh, the sale ends Saturday. The sale is always going on at Steven Singer Jewelers, so you don't have to worry about a sale, a coupon, a promo code, anything. You're just getting taken care of every single day with the perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. So do what I do. When it comes to your big jewelry purchases, see my friend at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. He's been in the love business for over 40 years in Philadelphia. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every single day. IHateStevenSinger.com. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out more about our latest addition to the Philadelphia Eagles, linebacker, edge rusher from the Temple Owls, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk to Colin Thompson about all things Hassan Reddick. Right now on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, it is my great joy, I kid you not, to welcome in first-time guest to the show from the Carolina Panthers, more importantly, the Temple Owls, more importantly than that, the Archbishop Wood Vikings, baby. Colin Thompson joins us. Colin, what's going on, brother?
Mark, it's great to be here. We do have a lot of things in common, that's for sure. A lot of similar paths, especially in our younger lives, and appreciate you having me on, man. Awesome to be on your show.
It's great to have you. You and I have spoken on a personal basis a couple of times, and to get you on the show is a great thrill for me. And to get somebody, yes, like you said, the similar backgrounds in terms of I played 1 year freshman football. I never played at Temple, although I did. I was like the guy that threw out shirts at the Temple football game, so there was that. And then obviously you gone to a great career in the NFL here. When you think about your time here in the Philadelphia area, obviously you're from the Philadelphia area. Like, what do you think about? What do you first go back to when you think about your youth in this area?
Well, still live in the area. I live in Cape May, New Jersey now. That's where we call home. And it's an amazing place to grow up. When we go back to Bucks County, where I grew up in Doylestown, and, my mom, operated, owned stores for 30 years in Peddler's Village right there. And, all different kinds. She's still in business there. So I think about a lot of our times growing up there, the holidays in Peddler's Village, the summers down the shore. I think about, traveling just in that area and all the awesome things that we get to do and have to, to get to kind of enjoy going to sporting events. I really didn't know a lot about the city until I went to Temple. As a kid, we bypassed it on the way to going to Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, and Eagles games. Mm-hmm. So, I was just very, very, very lucky to grow up where I grew up. Extremely blessed to have parents that were two business owners in Doylestown, Bucks County area. Now my mom, has stores. She owns the Original Fudge Kitchen down the shore now. She has, 10, 15 different retail stores all the way from Cape May, New Jersey to Princeton to Peddler's Village, like we spoke about earlier, Doylestown. So that's what I think about is kind of growing up. I lived in 14 different houses, all within like 5 miles. My parents are very business-centric people, and that's how we did it. So it was a unique childhood. I was very blessed to be able to grow up, like I said, and a lot of great memories, helping mom, carrying boxes around and shoveling snow in front of the stores and turning the lights on in Peddler's Village during the holidays. So it was a very great childhood. And then going to Archbishop Wood, you can't beat it.
Oh, of course. Now I have to say this. I was reading up on you because I just like to always make sure I know what I have something special to ask a guest here. Is it true your mom owned a lingerie store?
Yeah, she still does. She has Les Silhouettes lingerie.
Ooh.
In 30 years. She's been going, 30 plus. And she's a machine, man. She's a workaholic and someone she's almost 25 years now. 35 years. She's a grinder. She started young, didn't go to college, went to Penridge High School, didn't go to college, went to New York City, really get her education and was working in sales and, taking the train from Trenton every day from Bucks County and working her way up, and then started her own company, and now she's killing it. You know, she probably has, I don't even, can't keep track of her stores, 12 different retail stores. They're all different. I would say a handful of them are lingerie, pajama, intimate apparel, Uggs, slippers, robes. So great for the holidays, great for Valentine's Day, but awesome stuff. Like every year as a kid and Christmas, we'd come home, mom would come home Christmas Eve, you know, working her, you know, her tail off, because Christmas Eve is a big day for that, obviously. And she would always come home with pajamas and boxes. So that's like a tradition in our family. On Christmas, we always open up pajamas the night before. We wear the pajamas Christmas Day, you know, throughout the whole event. So yeah, man, she does. She owns a lingerie store, and she's got one in Cape May, one in Princeton, and one in Peddler's Village.
Go ahead. Say the name one more time.
So it's Lace Silhouettes Lingerie, and then she owns Cotton Company in Cape May, New Jersey, which is another big one. Sunflowers in Cape May, New Jersey. She has those same stores up in Peddler's Village. Village Outfitters there. So she's got a little mini empire she's building, man. She's a badass. We got a great family. We're lucky to have it. My dad's involved, mom involved, my brother's really involved. So it's been fun.
Well, as they say, the apple does not fall far from the tree. You go undrafted in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. You go to the Giants. Things don't work out. You bounce around a little bit, and then you land with the Panthers, and you get your first touchdown reception last year as a member of the Carolina Panthers, still with the organization now. What has your ride been like, and how hard have you had to work to get to where you are right now?
Just playing the long game, Mark. That's how I've always thought about it. People are like, what are you thinking about in the moment? I'm just, what's next? What's next? What are we doing? You know, what's the next thing I can get involved in? What's the next thing I can do to keep my mind busy? How can I continue to train and have a life, a profession, a relationship? You know, my wife and I were to long distance for 8 years. Now we're married and living together. You know, that's a struggle in itself. We met at University of Florida. Then I went to Temple. Then I was with the Giants, emergency appendectomy, got cut from there, then to Chicago, and then two years out of football completely, where I was taking the train to and from Temple 4 or 5 days a week, and then traveling with the train and work out and create a really NFL-like schedule there, where I was constantly training, watching film with all that staff. So shout out to Jeff Collins and their staff. They opened the doors of former players like myself. I'm not in the building without them. You know, I'm not playing in the NFL today without them. And then I'd come back, say around midday, because I take the first train out in the morning, one of them. And then I would run the marketing for my mom's company for her store, Fox and Holly, which was in Doylestown. Now it's back in Peddler's Village. I'd run the marketing for that. I worked for a finance company. I started 2 podcasts. I did all the play-by-play. I did all the color commentary for 97.5, The Fanatic in Philly, really for Temple football, but for Learfield, but we was always on 97.5. So I did color commentary for Temple football games for 3 years with Harry Donahue and Paul Palmer, Hall of Famers. That was an unbelievable experience. So I was just saying yes to as many things as I could. I was coaching football, which I still do at Lower Cape May High School in Cape May, New Jersey. So just keep.
Is that all? Is that all?
Yeah, man. So just keeping all the burners rolling, doing Eagles Sunday pregame show for 97.3 ESPN, and then did a Sunday Monday Night Football countdown show. I got to work with people like Tony Bruno and John McMullen and a lot of big names. So I've had a lot of great experiences working in the radio, media, television business, all in just our area. So it's been a grind. It's been a journey to get back to where I was. And then after all that kind of ended, I was at the Guinness factory in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm sitting there and having some beers, and it's cold, rainy February. And we had a hell of a night the night before in Annapolis. And I think it was one of the holidays there in February or March. I forget. I don't know the order. But I got a text from a buddy who was a recruiting coordinator of Florida way back when I was at UF, before I broke my foot and got medically disqualified. And he's like, "Are you in shape?" And I'm like, well, three beers in, of course I'm in great shape.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Amazing shape. I'm ready to go. What's up? He's like, "I'm with the Birmingham Iron. We don't have any tight ends." So, boom, I flew down 2 days later, won the workout, signed with Birmingham, played 6 games. And
that was the Alliance, right? That's the Alliance?
The Alliance of the American Football League. Yep. And then that folded because of financial problems. And then from a connection I made with Birmingham, he pounded the table for me to get to the XFL. I had workouts with New Orleans and Detroit between that. Then get to they didn't sign me. I went to the XFL, and kind of the rest is history. I played a couple games there, 6 games there, I believe, as well, or 4 games, I forget what it was. And then the league shut down because of COVID. Full circle, kind of built myself physically back up through the COVID, took the break I needed, and then boom, made a push. And now 3 years later, I'm still in the NFL. So it's been a hell of a journey. I try to tell it as fast as I could with some good detail. Good thing we're not on radio, Mark. We'd already cutting the break. I'd be done.
Yeah, it's the beauty of the internet. I'd be like, all right, we got to go to commercial. No, that's amazing. That really is amazing. And then in the meantime, I wanted to make sure I show people this, your Twitter profile, but mainly for this reason, Not For Long Media. You had told me about this some time ago, and it's really an incredible concept. What are you trying to do with Not For Long Media?
Yeah, so I got cut from the New York Giants, and it was funny. I was actually in Ventresca's in Doylestown, and Frank, who used to fit all the Eagles, and he still does the Kansas City Chiefs and the Ravens, and you're from Bucks County. You go, you get your suits there.
All my proms, Ventresca's.
Ventresca's, exactly. So I'm at Ventresca's, and Frank's like, Colin, the NFL stands for Not For Long, and this is when I was like hobbled over with an appendectomy, and I'm like, that's well said, Frank. There's the name of my podcast. So I changed it from Not For Long Podcast to Not For Long Media. And we're a media company now. I like to say we are. And Not For Long Media is my actual podcast. And then we're just bringing on other podcasts underneath of us. So we have Breaking Bats, which shot up all the Brian O'Grady, Archbishop Wood graduate's a host. He's playing in Japan this year. Brian played for the Cincinnati Reds, the Rays, and recently with the Padres. Due to the lockout and some other things, he bounced over to Japan for a year. He's going to come back, hopefully, with a little bit better stature in the league. MLB. But yeah, he started Breaking Bats, our podcast with us, and it's taken off. It's top 15 baseball podcast in the country at one point in time. After like 2 or 3 episodes, I think we're 4 episodes in. So Brian's absolutely killing it. He's got great guests, Tatis Jr., Adam Jones, just studs. Musgrove, the pitcher for the Padres. So that's fun. And then we're adding 2 other podcasts here on the horizon. I can't really talk about them yet, but they're in the make. So essentially a media company. We're inheriting podcasts. We're inheriting, just talent and good people. I got a great team that support us all, that are just awesome, hardworking people. So it's been a blast, man. And just kind of doing it. I was doing 2 episodes a week during the season. And it's been a grind, but it's been fun. It's a good, release for me. And I always say, just sacrifice 1 or 2, Netflix TV shows a season, and you'll be okay. You can actually do it. You can do it. You don't have to you don't have to watch Game of Thrones every night. You could just maybe do like 45 minutes of some podcasting.
Yeah, no Ozark. You're out on Ozark. Just work. Yeah, there you go.
Just work, and then get in bed, and then buy ESPN Plus and watch the back end of the Flyers games in the 3rd period, and then go to bed.
Yeah, it's just enough to watch them blow it, and then you fight through it. So are you just, at this point, I know a lot of people in the NFL try to compete with other people in the NFL. Are you just trying to compete with your mom to like how many jobs you can have? And if so, who's winning? Mom's
always winning. And that's for sure. And that's not just because she's my mom. She's always winning. Real estate. I mean, if you ask any of her employees, you're going to get a text from Karen, an email, 3, 4 in the morning. She's a workaholic. She comes from a family of one, and
my
in
goodness,
a good way possible, man. She's a beast. She's up and back from the shore all summer long. She's grinding. She's an unbelievable, business owner, entrepreneur. Like I said,
sure.
I have 2 parents that are both entrepreneurs. I always talk about our kitchen table as kids and the conversation about real estate and mortgages and paying cash and just different things. And hey, how was your school today? And obviously we threw sports in there. My brother works for my mom full time now, so. Yeah, it's a family business, but it's been unbelievably fun, and yeah, Karen's always doing more than me.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. One of the reasons, obviously, we wanted to talk to you, aside from your amazing career and so many endeavors that you're pursuing, which is awesome. We couldn't be happier for you. A local guy done great with a great story like yourself. Another local guy took headlines yesterday. At the time we aired this yesterday, Hassan Reddick, your teammate at Temple University, your teammate, obviously, with the Carolina Panthers. What can you tell me and what the Eagles are getting right now in this linebacker and edge rusher in Hassan Reddick?
Well, I'll talk about the player in a second. I'm going to talk about the person first. And I've been able to play against Hassan, get to know Hassan, be a mutual leader on the team with Hassan in Temple. He was a big leader for us in Carolina. I wish I could say I was. I think I was in a quieter way, a little bit different way. Not that he's loud, but he's a Pro Bowler. I was not a Pro Bowler. That's what I mean by that. So the personal level, Hassan walked on to Temple University. He played 4 games his senior year in Camden. I think he went to Camden High. And Coach Rule, offered him a walk-on spot, which means you have to pay for your college. His mom took out a loan to pay for his meal plan so he could eat with the team. Stuff that we probably all take advantage for the training table, which is like all you can eat buffets and whatever you want really for dinner, to go boxes, whatever you need to gain weight, you can do it. So Hassan's mom takes out a loan. He works his way through the program, ends up on scholarship. And, I think his senior year, Hassan probably would have been a mid-round pick. This is a guy that started at defensive back, played safety, played linebacker, and then moved to defensive end his senior year. So this isn't like your edge rusher here who only knows one position. Hassan has literally played everything. So then Hassan comes his senior year. He's a mid-round pick. He goes, he has a great championship game for us against Navy at a huge pick, gets invited to the Senior Bowl, goes to Senior Bowl as like an inside backer, edge rusher. Like, what is he? And tears it up, covers every running back, every tight end, beats all the tackles and edge rush moves and whatever it is, can stop the run. So he goes from a 4th round pick to, I think he was the 11th pick to Arizona. And right on the steps of the museum in Philly, he gets drafted at the height of Temple football, right after Coach Rule left to go to Baylor.
And right before the Eagles selected, I think it was Derek Barnett.
Correct. Who's still a great player. People trash Derek. They shouldn't.
Okay.
He's a good player.
If you're telling me, I'll take your word for it. Absolutely.
He made me look like shit this year, but everyone else, you're good. You're good. No, he's good. I like Derek. I think Derek's a good player, very underrated player in this league. But as you know, these Philadelphia fans are very tough on their players.
Yeah, time to time.
So I like Derek. But long story short, Hassan Reddick, goes to Arizona. He plays like middle backer, and he fights through all that adversity. They move him to edge rusher. He tears it up, right? He comes to Carolina. He had a great year. That just shows his toughness, his resilience, all those things that go on. I want to touch on Hassan as a human, like an unbelievable leader, someone that came into our team in Carolina and was, he beat the drum for us. He was our, flag carrier. He was the energy. He was the effort. He was the brand that Coach Rule's trying to do. He is that. He is involved in the community. He is everything you want as a teammate and a leader. I love playing with Hassan. We will miss Hassan in Carolina. Any team would be glad to have Hassan Reddick on their team. As a player, and I've touched on a lot of different things, of course, like I always do, I'm all over the map. The yard sale, they used to call me. So I as a player, you're getting premier talent, legit NFL defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call them, that can do everything, literally everything. That's what Hassan can do. He's more comfortable on the edge. I know one point in time, Arizona, he was playing in the middle linebacker spot, and he wasn't as comfortable. I think that's not breaking news. But obviously a top sack numbers guy, which is great, but just production and pressures and how he complements other players and his energy and his leadership. You're getting a legit guy. I was sad when I saw he left, but I couldn't be, more happier for someone that's going to do great in the city of Camden, great in the city of Philadelphia, just be exactly what everybody wants Philadelphia to be, their pro athlete to be on and off the field. That's Hassan Reddick. He's going to lean into everything because he knows what to lean into. We played at Temple. He's from Camden. He's played for great organizations in Arizona and Carolina. Now he's going to Philly. He's going to be an awesome addition for you guys. I should be his agent. I just sold him.
Yeah, really.
I had to face him every day for 5 years of my career. So
yeah, I was just going to ask you, like you being a tight end, him being either a defensive back, and then obviously being an edge rusher, being a outside linebacker. I'm sure you guys had your battles.
Yes, many battles. Relentless effort, physicality, toughness. I'm telling you, Mark, there's like everybody's gonna be wearing Reddick jerseys around Philly, and he's in the prime of his career. It's a perfect time. Everyone's like, that's an overpay or whatever that may be. Everything's an underpay with Hassan. He's that type of guy. Just to come back to Philly, I can't stress this enough for the fans of Philly, for the fans of Hassan, for Temple football fans. It's an unbelievable thing. It's a win-win, especially at Temple's now on the turnaround with Coach Drayton. What an awesome thing. I've been able to be around there on a side note and get to know him and the staff a little bit. Things are going in the right direction, thankfully. And then him and Sean Bradley are two great players for the Eagles now. So yeah, I'm jacked. I have no stories to tell of me and Hassan button heads other than we did it a lot on the field, but off the field, you couldn't meet a better guy and a better leader. And just going to be huge on and off the field for the Philadelphia community.
Is he a trash talker at all?
Hassan? Yeah. Hassan, yeah. Hassan he will not take shit from anybody.
Okay,
I'm telling
great.
you, every jersey is going to be walking around with the 43. I don't know what number he's going to wear, but yeah, Hassan doesn't take shit from anybody. I guess I could tell a story. It happened in joint practice with the Colts.
Okay.
The first practice, we got pushed around a little bit, and I don't think we were happy about that. Not that like they were doing anything too over the top, but it was really physical. And we were trying to be joint practice is tough. You don't want to hurt the other guys, but you want to play hard, especially for a guy like me on the bottom of the roster. You want to do well because you want to try to impress the Colts people too, right? Like every day is a tryout for the entire
putting good stuff on film. Yes,
correct. Because if you play well in the preseason games, everybody sees you. But say you sometimes are a better practice player than a preseason game player, right? Which maybe I would be, because I'm not going to catch the ball, make 6 people miss, and go for 60. That's just not my game. But if you have 2 practices against a team, you get to show who you are. So that's a big stage for me against a team that needs guys like, that are in my wheelhouse type players. So, I'm jacked. And then Hassan, pretty much says like, this is not happening again. And he went off and had the practice of his life. I mean, he could flip a switch, and he plays with that switch all the time. Hassan is just a leader. He's a legend. He's tough. I mean, like I said, it's my fifth time saying it. Philly, you really got a good one.
So with the joint practice with the Colts and everything, you guys went at it then pretty good?
Yeah, so I won't practice against Hassan, but I feel bad for those tight ends for the Colts that had to face him, because Hassan didn't play in the preseason game. It was our first game. He's a starter, big signee, but there was a lot of fights that broke out. There was a lot of things that broke out, right? It's all public knowledge. The media is there covering it. I'm not telling anything that wasn't covered. But yeah, fights, toughness, no BS, zero BS from Hassan. He sets it. He sets the tone. He's a tone setter. And Philly, you're going to love him.
Obviously, you grew up an Eagles fan, right?
I did not.
You did not? Okay, what was the team you
I grew up an Eagles supporter. I'll say this.
Okay, Eagles supporter. Okay.
I'm a diehard Flyers fan and fan of the Phillies and the Sixers, but really Flyers are like my team. Like they're my team. I'm a big hockey player.
I'm sorry right now.
I want to play. No, it's okay. I'm happy, Mark. I'll be honest with you. And we'll go back to your question in a second. You're going to have to re-ask it, because I'm about to go off here on the Flyers for a minute.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Everything's okay. Everything's excellent. To quote my tight end coach, Brian Angelico, is now in Minnesota. Everything's excellent. This is what the franchise needed. This is what's needed, Mark. The team needed to go and take 10 steps backwards. They've been taking no steps backwards for years, for decades. The last time they went to the Cup, awesome. Ever since then, it's been the same thing. Middle draft pick in the first round. The same old story. Trade for a veteran at the deadline, make the playoffs, lose in the first round. Please continue to lose. I know it's bad. I know it sounds bad. I don't believe in it in football, because football, you win 2-3 games in a row, boom, you're right back in the mix. In the NHL, what is happening right now, you need premier talent. You need speed. You need across the whole team. Look at these teams in the NHL. The Flyers, it's fine. They're okay. They have the goalie. You're set. You just need to take a step back, unload some big contracts. It's a 2-3 year rebuild. And then you know what? Because I'm a huge Drew fan, he'll probably sign back to finish his career here, and he'll sign a minimum and play on the 3rd, 4th line in the power play when the Flyers are ready in 2-3 years. It's kind of like Von Miller getting traded from Denver, getting them or whatever, 2nd and a 3rd. He wins a Super Bowl with the Rams, and who knows if he signs back with Denver. But that would be a similar situation. So that's my thought on the Flyers. I think it's a good thing. I'm not a tank guy. I don't believe in that. But for a team like the Flyers that have been stuck in the middle of the NHL for a really long time, middle to upper edge, it's time to take a step back, regroup. The Rangers did it a couple years ago. They're one of the best teams in the NHL now. So I'm sorry, Mark, what was your original question? Oh, Eagles. So was I an Eagles fan? Was I an Eagles fan growing up?
Well, yeah, but real quick. So you would trade Drew at the deadline then? He'll play his 1,000th game as a Flyer on Thursday, and then after that you trade him?
I'd trade him, yeah. And
so would I, and I love the guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Love him. He's a legend. He's the most underrated Philly athlete of all time. It's an absolute crying shame. He didn't bring a cup, all that stuff. Listen, I get it. I understand it. But if you look at his numbers, I know numbers. I hear the whole thing. Numbers don't matter. If you look at his numbers, look at his numbers. The numbers are crazy. He's in the top 5 since he's been in the league in every statistical category that you'd want your center and winger to be. If you move
Absolutely.
the winger before a little earlier, his career maybe even lasting longer. He hasn't lost a step. He's always kind of been this speed as he plays. It's not like he was Ovi or Crosby. He's in that next level of star.
Right.
So, yeah, I trade him, get a first round pick for him, or a young stud.
Let's see that. Yeah.
Yeah. To answer your question, this is great. This is great journalism. Take notes, Archbishop Wood alumni and Temple alumni. This is how it's done.
Yeah.
So just off the rails. So was I an Eagles fan growing up? No. And my family was, but I still supported the team, was around the team, and watched every game.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I wasn't was because my mom went to Penridge High School. Her last name was Leahy before she married Thompson.
Okay.
And Tim Lewis sat behind my mom, and they became great friends. Tim Lewis went to Pitt, was an All-American at Pitt, was a first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers, got hurt on Monday Night Football, the one game she went to watch him play.
Oh, my goodness.
And Tim became a coach in the NFL. He was the defensive coordinator of the Steelers through the whole Bill Cowher time there, at least a good part of it, with Joey Porter. So we went to Steelers games.
Okay.
And I got to meet all Jerome Bettis, Cordell Stewart, Joey Porter. That's as a kid who wants to play in the NFL. Come on. We weren't Eagles haters, but how can you turn that down? Then he goes to the Giants. All right, then it's real getting dicey with the family there. But I'm a diehard Jeremy Shockey fan. So you get to meet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? He's the 80 in my email, the number 80. It's him.
Is he really? Okay, wow.
Yeah. So I get to meet, Shockey. You get to meet Eli Manning and all these different guys that are awesome. So it was life-changing in that sense. We get to be around two teams that were really, moderately close to home you could drive to. And I saw the Giants parade, Ticker Tape parade in New York City, even though Tim wasn't there anymore. My mom's like, you want to play in the NFL? You need to vision this. You need to see this. Put this on your vision board.
Wow. That's cool. Wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
And then the school district called her and said, this is not an acceptable thing to miss school for. Yeah, good old Central Bucks.
Oh, good old CB, baby.
I love it. And they're not wrong. It wasn't an Eagles parade, right? But it was a Giants parade. So
gotcha.
An unbelievable experience, and hopefully get to participate in that one day. So it's been a hell of a ride, Mark. It's been a hell of a journey.
This is way too personal a question, and I mean for you and I alone. Nat's Pizza? You're a Nat's Pizza guy? Because I was
of course.
I was huge Nat's Pizza guy. That place fed me more than my mom over a 10-year period.
Tremendous. We were at Vedresca's the other day. And we had a great time traveling. We've had our honeymoon. We had a couple of different things going on, so we're trying to watch our food a little bit. At this point, I'm starting to really train harder now. And I walk by Nat's. I'm like, man, I can't do it. I'm a Mesquite Grill guy right next door.
It's a great spot. Love that spot. Yeah. That was like an antique store. When I was like really little, that bar was an antique store. It was like the weirdest place in the world. But then it turned into Mesquite Grill, and then we went there, obviously. Tremendous. Colin, this has been so much fun. If you will, indulge me. Would you play Fast Five with us today?
Absolutely.
All right, let's bring in the band then, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what Colin Thompson has to say with Fast Five. Let me just tell the band just to quiet down for a second, as my friend Big Daddy Graham used to say. Here we go. Best job before this job.
Ticketing bras and panties in my mom's store.
I was hoping it would be lingerie related. That's
Mark,
phenomenal. Yes.
$4 an hour. And I would be like, Mom, why is it $4 an hour? She's like, because your lunch, your 4 Subway sandwiches cost $50.
My mom would pull that same thing. That's hilarious. Go to fast food place. You might have just told me.
Chipotle. It's
okay.
It's not fast food, but it is. I have to be able to get like a good meal tangibly, like take that and take a nap. So yeah,
treat that burrito like one big sleeping pill. I'm with
Correct.
you. First date deal breaker. First date deal breaker. You're happily married, but first date. What would be a deal breaker for you in your dating days?
Wow. This is a tough one. I'm not doing well at these Fast Five.
I'm a journalist. I ask the tough questions.
All right. So I probably 10 seconds to answer this here.
Sure, why
What's
not?
Deal breaker. The deal breaker on the first date where you're like, "No, I'm out." If they don't order a beer.
So carafe of white wine, you're like, nope, you're out.
No. I'm kidding. I'm a beer. I'm kidding. The first day I met my wife though, she's like, "Do you want a beer?" I'm like, "Can I marry you?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
Better 5 seconds later, married. Yes.
Correct.
Favorite city to travel to?
Key West, Florida.
Ooh, nice. That's nice. And then finally, in traffic, what makes Colin Thompson use his horn?
You know what drives me nuts? Nothing worse, guys. This is a public service announcement to everybody here listening. It is 2022. All of our cars are probably 10 years old, maybe a little older, right? Or brand new. You don't, if you're making a right turn, you don't need to turn left to turn right. The car will turn. We all have power steering now. This is in my dad's 1955, Chevy outside of Nat's Pizza, Ventresca's and Mesquite back in the day. And we had to like wheel the thing, right? It just turns. You just need to move your wheel just a little bit. So that's my
coming into your lane to go back to theirs. Yeah, that's a great one. That one. You just hit a home run on the final one of Fast Five. That's the best one because no one has said that, and that's a brilliant answer, my friend. Colin Thompson, it was my absolute pleasure to finally get a chance to sit down and talk with you about football, your career, your former teammate Hassan Reddick as well, and then obviously, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not doing it already, first off, shame on you. But second off, make sure you're following my man at Colin Thompson TU, and then make sure you also follow at Not For Long Media, at Not For Long Media, and check out all his podcasts wherever you guys get your podcasts. Colin, this was an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you so much.
Dream come true, brother. 2 Wood guys, Temple, great to be on.
My pleasure's all over here, my man. Make sure you're following him, and Colin, thanks so much for joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Well, I don't know if you could tell, we were kind of having fun. I hesitated for a second to ask him about our neighborhood pizza place. And I'm not kidding you. My buddy Andy Campbell lived down the street from Nat's Pizza. And Andy's dad built like a loft over their garage, which basically became like our clubhouse, for lack of a better term, as like high school kids and early college kids. So it was just like we'd walk there, right? Walk up to Nat's Pizza. I get 2 slices of pepperoni. 10-piece wings, and I think they had IBC root beer in the fridge. I think it was IBC root beer. That was my night. It was the greatest thing ever. Absolute greatest thing. I'd go there with like $10 in my pocket. Oh man, I ate like a king. Every once in a while, my man Giuseppe, no longer there, he would make me a nice sausage calzone. It was phenomenal. There you go. Anyway, so yeah, maybe a little too specific, but yeah, we all have those places growing up. You can identify. But you know what? Colin Thompson joined us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. And hey, remember the old you? The one that could eat Nat's Pizza, 2 slices, 10-piece wings, and not really feel it the next day? Yeah. Well, how about this? When it comes to the old you, the one that maybe didn't have to put up with a fickle knee, a finicky hip, or a shoulder, that no longer does what a shoulder should do, well, guess what? The Rothman approach to orthopedics is here to get you back to being you, back to feeling like you. Back to running, walking, working, back to playing, back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start now at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. How about the great people at WinView? You can challenge a friend and family member at WinView contest. Maybe your friend's a Nuggets fan. That'd be weird, but maybe they're a Nuggets fan. Maybe they were pulling for Jokic last night. Maybe they won their bet. I doubt it. But you could bet with WinView. Challenge a friend or family member to a WinView contest and see who knows more about sports. Maybe you have a friend or family member who keeps on talking all that ish when it comes to sports. We'll see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk with the WinView app. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where fans can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that they love so much. So download the WinView app right now and have yourself a good time. How about the people at PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs, phlsportsnation.com. Let's jump into the chat check. I know we got a lot going on here from all you fine people. Kevin, good morning. Mally, good morning. Fuji, good morning. Hassan Reddick Day. I got it. Oh, my man, absolutely. John Cheeseborough, good morning to you. Fuji, hello again. Arya, you were here for a second. I don't see what you said, but hello. John, Jannard Avery is gone too. Man, you just thought the Eagles were going to win that Jannard Avery trade, didn't you? Not you, John. I'm saying the royal you, like sarcastically. Yet another large lead blown. John, the Sixers came out on fire last night, and I couldn't help but think this is going to be the best version of them because as this game goes on in a back-to-back, their legs are going to get a little weak. And that's exactly what happened. And along with that happening is, I think, the reason why George Niang struggled so much Everyone will talk about Joel Embiid. I talked about Joel Embiid playing on the back-to-back. Doc Rivers certainly talking about Joel Embiid playing on the back-to-back, getting tired. But as that game went on, you could see that the guys' legs were getting to him and their shots were falling just a little bit short, or erratic even. April, good morning. Nice to have you. John Cheeseborough, this is a fine point. Lost because of the bench? What bench? Fine point. Alyssa, good morning. Alyssa, good morning to you. Alyssa was kind enough to tweet me last night. And there were two plays that I couldn't believe the refs didn't call either a foul or a traveling violation. The traveling violation, Alyssa was so kind to point out to me on Twitter that the whole Wells Fargo Center erupted that they didn't call a travel on Nikola Jokic when he was coming up the floor. He was bringing the ball up, picked it up, I thought took 3 steps. They tried counting on TV. I think they were 1 step off and then delivered the basketball. I thought it was an obvious travel. They didn't call it. There was also the takedown by Gordon on by Gordon on Harden, who was bringing the ball up, fast break situation. And I think the ref thought it was all ball, which then led to the tackle. But it wasn't all ball. The replay they showed going to break, at least on the NBC Sports Philly broadcast, was Gordon's hand on Harden's hand, pulling him down to the ground. Should have been a foul call. It was not. I thought the officiating was terrible last night. I very rarely ever look to officiating really for any blame, but just last night was an awful game for them. They did not have a good game last night. So Alyssa, thank you for that. Jim, what's going on? Good morning to you. Parrish, hello. John, hello again. It's clear that Harden's confidence is shot right now. Oh, that's very nice of you, John. I'm spot on right now. He looks like he's worried about missing. Here's what I'll say. I don't know what the hell Harden's thinking sometimes. He'll have open shots and pass up on them. During those moments, I at least have an idea, I guess, of what he's saying. Maybe I do have an idea of what he's thinking, which is, I'm not really hot right now. This isn't my shot. I still want him to keep shooting. The things that he does that just blow my mind are did you notice the Tyrese Maxey's running the baseline, but he's a step out of bounds. Like, he's not on the line. He's out of bounds running the baseline. And James Harden passing it to him under the basket. And I'm like, a guy is in the league as long as you have, as good a point guard as you have been, a guy that averages double digits assists, nearly. How do you not notice that Tyrese Maxey is out of bounds? How do you make that read and go, oh, he's inbounds and I can make a play? Mind-numbing to me. That was just a bad pass by James Harden. And then there was another alley-oop he attempted to Matisse Thybulle, actually, where he threw a very low pass from the foul line extended to the opposite block, adjacent block, and there was 2 guys in front of him, and it was just the pass, the attempted alley-oop was picked off. And I'm like, what? The stupid play. The other thing is, just not having confidence in the shot. Some guys are going to go through that. And one thing I do agree with Doc Rivers is that James Harden's just got to get over that. Like, man, you just got to keep shooting. Our odds are better when you're shooting. We're doing a better job offensively when you're shooting, even if you're struggling. Yes, no, when maybe you're 1 for 7, that it might not be it. But that's exactly what happened in the Orlando Magic game, where I believe he started 1 for 7. Then he hit 2 big threes down the stretch, and of course fouled Tobias Harris in the corner for the 3, which was a great pass set up by him. Dribble, drop, penetration, kick out. Let's see who else we got here. Mullet, what's up, Mullet? The Brooklyn Bumble Bens look like their mascot is ready to log some more games on the bench. Probably. Do you see Kyrie Irving got fined $50,000? I think it was. If you didn't see that coming from a mile away, first off, hey, look, the rules are weird in New York, in the New York. We all get that. But the minute I saw Kyrie Irving on the court, like, bro it out with Kevin Durant after the game, I was like, that's going to be a fine. Because nobody is allowed, whether you're a player buying a ticket, as Kyrie Irving did, to go to that game, whether you're just a fan doing that, or you're coming onto the court like that in New York where it's allowed, you can't do that. Like, I can't do that. And I knew that was going to be a fine, and that's exactly what ended up happening. 2 years in a row, Morey's done nothing to help the bench. Well, at least last year he brought in George Hill. That ended up not helping the bench. Like, it was an attempt to bring in somebody that could run your second unit. It didn't work out, but at least the attempt was there. This year, DeAndre Jordan? No? Okay, never mind. I'll tell you this. He's got more spring in his legs, left in his legs than I thought he did, so that's at least good. But yeah, I would like to see a lot more bench help. Somebody says later on in the chat, bring Maxey off the bench. I'm not for that. I think the starting five is staggered enough. You need a legit bench player. I think that's the biggest issue. And I certainly don't want Danny Green back in the starting rotation. Yeah, some free agency moves in football. Absolutely. Kevin says, geez, Colin is a hustler. He just needs to throw a Wawa hoagie maker on his resume, and I think he's hit every job around Philly. Definitely. Maybe work at the pretzel factory. Slinging cheesesteak somewhere. Maybe that's something. It seems like Morey hoped for an expired contract player to sign instead of giving up the second-round pick for someone. Yeah, that's probably a good read on that. It just jumped around. Come on, don't jump around. Don't do that to me, baby. That was Jim. Thank you, Jim. Buddy T-Mac, what's going on? April, hello. Yes, he wasn't a Cowboys fan, at least growing up. Nat's Pizza and their countdown clock for kids going back to school. T-Bro, was there no night more lit, to use a modern expression, than going to a CB, like the late 90s, late 90s. I was like 8th grade, 7th grade, going to games, CB West, and then going to Nat's Pizza afterwards was like, you couldn't tell me nothing. That was a night out on the town, baby. That was like Vegas Strip. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that was a good night for me. Thank you, Jacob. Glad you enjoyed the interview. Jim, he is funny. Shiloh, good morning. Kevin, Colin just became my favorite non-Eagle in the league, and Reddick is number 1 overall. I'm drafting Colin in fantasy next year for sure. Kevin, I hope he will pay dividends for you. Horrible officiating last night. Alyssa couldn't agree more, as you pointed out. Kevin, yes, if Jokic wins the MVP over Joel Embiid again this year, it would be daylight robbery again. Jokic makes no-look passes, and the world goes nuts, and Joel drops 30 a night with ease, and the national media says nothing. WTF. Kevin, I was trying to break that down last night, and like, the Sixers needed to win that game. Did Joel Embiid play better? Yes, Joel Embiid played better. But I think the national media is going to say, well, in a head-to-head, Jokic won. Then as much as I'd love for them to say, oh, but Embiid outplayed him, I don't think they're going to go that deep. And I think Embiid outplayed him. I think Jokic had a lot more help, especially when it came to the defense, when it came to the bench. But when it comes to 2 for 24 from your bench, I hope they take that into consideration. And yes, I do think I hope they take into consideration the fact that it was the second night of a back-to-back after a road game for the Sixers where Embiid played in overtime. Anyway. Whoa, Kevin guessed Tim Donaghy reference on the officiating. John Cheeseborough, if I was ever elected the Vince McMahon of all sports, I'd have it so there'd either be no back-to-backs in the NBA or both teams that are supposed to play would have a back-to-back the same 2 nights. John, I think that would be a beautiful thing. Alyssa says you're welcome. Again, thank you. Jim, what's going on? I thought that's why they brought Harden in, to have a go-to guy to stop comebacks. Jim, that's what I thought too, and that's what I was waiting for last night. Like, I was waiting, especially when Bones started hitting threes. I was like, all right, Harden's got to answer here. Somebody has to answer. That's going to be Harden, right? And then I'm seeing him continually get down in his crouch, dribble between his legs, stare down at the defender. You know the step back's coming, and he doesn't hit the step back. He doesn't attempt the step back. So that's an issue. Speaking of the pretzel factory, I'm going to need them to bring those breakfast sandwiches back. Ooh, yeah, those are some good Johns right there. I don't think Irish even. What? What are we, Irish? We're talking about Irish people? What? I don't even think Irish scored in the second half. I'm lost on Irish. Who's Irish? I'm not Irish. I know that much. Ray, I missed you there. Oh, Harris. Okay, thank you. Harris. There you go. Harris scored in the second. I don't think he did either. I don't think he did either. Thanks everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys as per usual. Let's jump into our morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Sixers are off tonight. Much needed night off. Sixers are going to be back in action against Cleveland Cavaliers on the road on Wednesday night. Then they host the Dallas Mavericks. So that'll be fun. So there you go. There you go. Flyers, ladies and gentlemen. Let me give you the Flyers. Forgot to give you the Flyers. Flyers, I want to give you some of the Flyers. Oh, no, this is what I wanted to do next. I didn't give you Joel Embiid on his reaction. This is something Joel Embiid said post-game that I said, I don't believe you, JoJo. Joel Embiid on the matchup between Jokic and him, and whether or not there was a little something extra in this game.
No, not at all. Regular season game, it's Denver against the Sixers. You know, we had a good start, and then that beginning of the fourth and that end of the first half was terrible for us. But yeah, it wasn't about me or anybody else. It was about we did everything possible to try to get a win.
I don't believe you that there was nothing else extra in this. If there was nothing else extra in this, Joel Embiid's not playing in this game. There was something extra in this. We all know it. So Joel said that last night. And I just said, nah, nope, don't believe you. Also, if you guys didn't see this, this is amazing. I like Pete Alonso. I don't like him as a New York Met. I like him as a person. He was on that show Meat Eater I've told you guys about before that I watch on Netflix. I'm not a hunter by any means, but this show just fascinates me. And Pete Alonso was on this show. And Pete Alonso is on his way to spring training yesterday or Sunday. And this is what happened to his car. Check this out. What the heck is that? Get out of there. There we go. This is Pete Alonso's car. He says it flipped over 3 times on his way to what do you call it? On spring training. And that happened because he got T-boned by another car that ran a red light. I don't know if the driver was distracted or what the deal was. I don't know the details on that. They're still trying to figure that out. But Pete Alonso, apparently his car was T-boned, flipped over 3 times, and he went to the ballpark for spring training. His wife took photos and was like, my husband's lucky to be alive and all that. I can't imagine. I'm lucky, very lucky. I haven't had much of, I've had like one fender bender in my life. But I can't imagine your car flipping over 3 times and you're in it and what must be going through your mind when that's happening. So glad Pete Alonso, the person, is okay. And I hope in no relation to this accident whatsoever, he has a terrible season and the Mets suck. Anyway, other than that, I'm glad Pete Alonso is okay because he seems like a swell dude. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Chat. Or that was the Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. We'll look to break down the Sixers a little bit further tomorrow and what we could do with this bench going forward. Hopefully we get some answers to that. My thanks to Colin Thompson who joined us. You guys can obviously check all that stuff out on our YouTube page right here on the Farzy Show. Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, DestinationRetirement.com. And we come to you live every weekday from the Steven Singer Studio. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job. My name is Marc Farzetta. This is the Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.